This is a very serious press conference. I'm not used to this many people in Brisbane.
Chris, can you take us by the decision to come perhaps a day earlier down to Melbourne?
Yeah, it's something we've done regularly on a lot of our away trips. If we go to Perth, we go a day earlier. We did that with the Geelong game. We got a good result. So you sort of go with what works. So we decided to do, given that this is a preliminary final, we'd just try and give ourselves every chance to be as well settled as we could be coming into the game.
We're getting used to these 4 consecutive preliminary finals. How does this one feel any different to the others? What's the feeling?
Oh, it's just always a sense of anticipation, excitement. You know what the prize is at the end of it, which is why those games are so cherished amongst players. The prize is big, so there's a lot at stake, and everybody's on their toes.
Human Cluggage said earlier this week that he feels like one premiership isn't enough for this group. Is that a view that you share? And what is the ceiling for the Lions, this version of the Lions?
Yeah, well, you'd like to win the premiership every year if you could, wouldn't you? So it's good that he's saying that, because it means the group's still hungry. What you try and do is win one, and then you set yourself to try and do it again. It's hard to do, and we've given ourselves an opportunity to get there and give ourselves another chance. A lot of work to do still to achieve that, but I think I know what he means. This group has been a high-performing group for a long time now, and they have high expectations for themselves, and I'm pretty pleased to hear that that's the way he's talking.
How are the energy levels, Chris? For not so much you, but the players. There was a narrative heading into the Gold Coast game that you were limping to the line a bit, but you seem to have put that to bed.
That was a narrative, though, wasn't it?
It was.
That was somebody else's opinion, not ours. No, we've trained with great energy last week. We did coming into the Geelong game as well, and the way the boys have trained this week, they seem fresh enough and excited by the opportunity. So I'm not too worried about our energy levels.
Lachie Neale certainly wasn't limping the other day when he was running laps. Do you have an update on his situation?
Oh, he's just doing the best that he can to make himself available for a grand final if we happen to get there. He's making good progress. Whether he's good enough to play or not next week, as I say, if we get there, only time will tell. But he's probably a little bit further ahead of where we thought he'd be.
So he said that the doctors think he's 1% chance. He thought he was a 50% chance last week. What percentage do you put on it at this stage in your eyes?
Oh, I don't know. I can't answer that question. I'm not going to buy into that one. I don't know.
How tough would it be? I know it's next week if you get through, but how tough would it be if he comes to you and says, I'm right to go, to take that leap?
Well, it depends how all the other blokes are going in his position, I guess. But it's good to have a dual Brownlow medalist available for a grand final if we get there. We haven't got there yet, so I don't really want to talk about grand finals. I'm sort of not interested. But I realise that might be a decision that we have to make. Lachie hasn't played a lot of football in the last 6 or 7 weeks because he was out injured prior to the injury that he's got now. So I think it was his first game back. He hurt himself again. So they're all those things you weigh up when the time comes. Good problem. Be a good problem to have, though. I'll be happy to have it.
You've had so many big games with Collingwood over the years. What are you expecting from them tomorrow night?
Oh, I'm expecting their best. They're a highly experienced group that have played together a lot. They've got a lot of 30-year-olds that have played in a lot of finals, so they're going to be well and truly ready. But we're finals hardened too. I mean, I think this is our 18th final, 19th final in 6 or so years, so a lot of our group have played in all of those, so we're experienced as well. They'll come out hard because they'll be fresh, and we've got to be ready for that and ready to respond.
Craig always stresses that the number one team for the school was against. How do you get around them at school? What's the key?
Just play our way. Our ways have been proven over time that we can score heavily when we do that well. We'll turn up and take the game on like we always do. There's no point not doing that. Why would you change for a final? So our aim is to test that claim out.
Were you surprised they let out Bobby Hill given what he did a couple of years ago on the grand final?
Oh, I don't know. You'd have to be there. I don't know all the bits and pieces that go into that decision. It's there's a lot of internal knowledge that goes into a decision like that I wouldn't want to buy into. I would have understood if they'd have picked him, and I understand why they haven't picked him, I guess.
Chris, do you send Josh Dunkley to Nick Dacos, or is there another matchup waiting
So,
for Dacos?
so why would I tell you the answer to that question? Like, I know what you guys are interested in. I understand why you asked that question, but it's a big game tomorrow night, so I'm pretty reluctant to let out what we may or may not be planning to do v Collingwood. What I will say is, though, you've got to beat Collingwood's system, not their individual players. I think if you can sort of restrict the way that they want to play and hurt them back the other way, then you give yourself a chance. So that's more of our focus than actual individuals.
What do you make of Levi Ashcroft's season, and how have you prepared him going into this prelim?
Yeah, Levi's had a really good season. I mean, he's played every game, which is a fair effort by an 18-year-old. He might be 19 now. He's like any young player. He's had a few ups and downs during the year because energy's a hard thing when you're that young. But I feel like he's playing well at the moment. He's got over that hump, and he's made a significant contribution to the team and earned his spot. So we couldn't be happier with him.
How has the mentorship from his older brother kind of shaped it in this season?
Yeah, that's hard to know because I'm not privy to their private conversations, and Cam Bruce probably has as much to do with Levi's development as his brother. But no doubt they talk, and no doubt Will, being the good bloke that he is doing all he can to help Levi become as good a player as he can be as quickly as possible.
Did the old man get a seat this time, or you could have stayed at the back of the
Oh no, that was a pretty odd sight, wasn't it? He obviously gets nervous, Marcus, that's all I can say, and probably wants to watch the game in peace. So I haven't asked him why he actually did that, so I don't know, but I figure that's what it is.
There's a philosophical debate about what the better preparation is heading into a prelim, given the week off before the finals. Do you have a stance on that? I'm sure you're probably trying to sell the better narrative to your side.
Well, you always know the answer after the game, don't you? I reckon. Well, the harder way to do it last year was good for us. I feel like we're in good shape at the moment. It'd be different if we were a bit more banged up after that game last week, but we've actually come out of it pretty well. So I'm hoping that the preparation that we've had is better than what Collingwood has had, but it's really hard to tell. And I'd take their pathway rather than our pathway, to be honest. But it doesn't mean you can't get the job done.
8 guys, 22 or under. How pleased are you that being able to step up in these big finals, not having a hell of a lot of experience coming in some of them?
Yeah, it's been good. I mean, whatever happens in the next week or two, it's been a great year for our footy club in terms of our development, bringing all those young players into the team, and 3 of them are teenagers still. So, yeah, the good thing is it helps our future. They get valuable experience in big games. I still think finals are probably worth 10 home and away games really to get to play in that tempo. So, yeah, really pleased with what they've been able to do, and really pleased with the way the senior players have been able to help guide those guys through. They can't do it on their own. They need the help of the more experienced players around them, and they've done a fantastic job with that. How's Big O leading into this weekend? I know he's been managed throughout the season, but, yeah. But how's he going? Yeah, he's going well. He pulled up great from last week's game. He really enjoyed the fact that he played. I think he was wondering whether he'd ever get back into the team. He'd been playing well in the build-up to the game last week, and so yes, we decided to pick him, and I think he had a good impact. And Collingwood with Cameron and Cox in the ruck, I think it's pretty important that we've got 2 good ruckmen and guys that can play a little bit up forward as well to match that. So him coming back into the team has been timely, I think.
Do you think we'll see a bit more of him in the ruck this week?
I don't know. The game might dictate that a little bit, how momentum's going and what's happening in the ruck contests. We've got no set plan on that though.
Is there any extra added motivation to do it for those guys that weren't there last year?
It's something our playing group has spoken about a fair bit, the guys that did play, when they talk about the guys that didn't. So I dare say it's a motivation. I mean, Oscar McInerney, for example, he's such a loved character at our footy club, and some of the things he did in last year's finals, and then missing out in the grand final, I think just him alone, it's a huge motivation for our players.
It's a bit of weather around, Chris. You happy with a scrap tomorrow night if it goes that way?
Yeah, that's fine. I mean, it's the Gabbers are often wet games, even though it's not raining, because there's so much condensation on the grass and stuff. So we're used to slippery conditions. We think our way of playing stands up in all sorts of conditions, so it's not a concern to us.
Here for the captain's run at Marvel Stadium instead of the MCG with the clash tonight. Does that bother you at all?
No, not really. Just today's all we're just about having a bit of a flush out. We just need a patch of grass really, so it's good of the AFL to let us have Marvel Stadium.
And you'll have the Fitzroy faithful here as well cheering you on. How nice is that to have the support from down here?
Yeah, they always turn up. Stir me up when I put the cones out. They're a great group of supporters. They turn up to all of our games down here in big numbers, and I'm sure, even though they'll likely be outnumbered tomorrow night at the MCG, I'm sure they're going to make a big noise. Thank you.
Thanks, Chris.